And so I mastered the game. What is the game? Through the art of attraction itself, our community 15, 14 years ago, we mastered the game of social dynamics. Learn how to draw people in, articulate the right words, the right tonality, the exact body language to get attraction. And for a while, it worked. In fact, it worked for a very long time. However, underneath that attraction, there was something that was still a little bit hollow. But with more distractions and accomplishments of getting people to like me or like us, more and more yeses starts coming to me despite how they said no. But we will manage able to reverse that compliance from every no to become a yes. And yeah, we got it. We got it. We got the attraction. We got the person to like us. But somehow it wasn't enough. All right, my dear friends, welcome to our second podcast on powers of alignment, the POA. If you watch the first podcast, it was about the story of how this all began, where this super ego was created called the powers of attraction, POA ego, was created to almost maneuver myself in any social dynamic situations. Um, you name it, whether it is just a networking session or it is just a casual, even a shopping mall excursion or clubbings, places where there are people with the right techniques, tools, and training. It was almost just like a flick, a flip of the switch, immediately able to turn on that powers of attraction mode to get people to converse with us with simple curiosity openness like, hi, I noticed earlier. I noticed that you have been around. Maybe you can show me more about the place. But in fact, they are just as new as us. Or maybe something as casual as, I've noticed you around. Can you help me? Hey, these are all very casual opening, saying hi, and there's nothing wrong in making friends saying hi. But underneath that intention to meet, to create attraction, it was far more underlying a soul of emptiness that needs to be validated. So this is how it all began. The book itself, once again, I give thanks to Neil Strauss who started the book of the game, and I read this book really like a Bible. It's yellow already, by the way. And once a while, I still take a look back and recall how the journey has been because throughout all these years, somehow the emptiness of the game didn't really quite fill up that hole in that soul. And mind you, this is not going to be any spiritual podcast. It's something that I share honestly on my own journey itself. And today we talk about how these powers of attraction that I conquered and mastered yet made me hollow. So the rise of this POA was this. It starts off with understanding our own personal frame, which makes me to convince myself and believe that I'm attractive, I'm adored by others. People like me. It's just that people have not met me yet. And my favorite line was then, the world are strangers that's waiting for us to be friends. And it gives me a lot of permission many years ago to be out there with a community of men, meeting people, and even to such an authority that I'm able to conduct classes that helps men to break out from their low self-esteem shell and create a stronger shell of attraction that they are able with tools in their pockets pull out anytime with a three key model of first knowing how attraction works. What are the right things to create attraction? For example, positive body language. Force yourself out to have a positive body language. Create high energy. Create a high energy where people are way below you, and when you enter the room or in any presence, your superiority is always an energy higher. And be excited, or constantly be excited about little things about them. When you portray your energy to them, that you're excited about them regardless of what they're going on in their life, and as a result they put a bit of attention back to you, you create kind of the same kind of attraction, stories that are exciting and may be real, may not be real. And that's the challenge of it when we are faced with men who believe that they do not have anything exciting in their life to share. And that's where the encouragement to fabricate exciting stories came about. And over time, these stories, as they start to collapse, especially in the phase where we want to build connection, genuine connection with the person, it becomes unsustainable because we have to repair ourselves back to the phase where we created the attraction that made them wanted to know more about us because of the story that we created. What was the story? Sorry, what was the story I created? I need to refer back to my phone. I need to refer back to my notes because these are stories that are not mine. And these are stories that are fabricated just for performance, just to allure attraction. And mind me, there's nothing wrong in learning the art of storytelling. Just that the art of storytelling itself has to be your own story, which most of the time for me, I created stories that were not mine. And I wanted people to listen to me because I like the attention when I create stories, regardless whether they are real or not. It's just like a performance, where I can be receiving a script. Give me a script, I read the script, and I fall myself into this actor and role. And that's where how people like this character that I'm playing. Oh my God, tell me more about this character. And I develop myself deeper and deeper into this character until the story ended. The big question then came about, who am I? Can I have a part two to this story? And that's where it becomes terrifying in the hollows of the night, where times I used to intoxicate myself with alcohol, and the next day I woke up. What was the story that I've created? And this is, I'm not only talking about the life before I was married, the relationships that I had in the past. It boils down and overlaps into the other areas of my life where I can't even remember the script because I need scripts. I start to begin to have scripts in my other personal life, in my romantic life, in my social life, in my working life with my friends, that the fabrication becomes so huge that I need to constantly fall back to the attraction model to recall myself. Okay, look, I need to put back on my super ego again because I'm out there with people. And as long as there's people involved on this journey, there has to be a script. There has to be a system for me to live my life. And mind you, it was powerful. Why? Because the attraction model creates attraction and attention fast. Regardless whether they are good attraction or bad attraction, most important, be above others. Bring others to your energy level, and that's where people usually at a lower energy level wants to speak to people at a higher energy level. And that is also the problem where I only tend to attract people of lower energy level, and where they need to be safe to a higher energy level, and hence develop an unhealthy savior persona where I feel good. I justify myself when I meet people who are of lower energy. I manage to bring up their energy, and they, as a result of spending time with me, I felt that I've saved them. They felt that they felt that I've saved them. I felt that I have saved them, and that creates an inconsistency in the genuine relationship itself because it's based on enabler and a savior model where nobody is complete. Just two empty hollow souls waiting to meet each other, thinking that we both will fill each other up. And mind you, it's still useful because there are a lot of people out there, not only women, men alike. They are, when the men are not awakened, They need someone to look up to, whether it is a role model, a guru, a public speaker, a mentor, to let them see that they can be bigger than themselves. And as a result, when that happens, they feel confident about themselves, latching on to the person that they think make them feel otherwise. And we use the same model to create attraction. And hence, during the comfort building or the connection model part, where the energy slows down, where we want to understand each other a little bit more and create stories of connection where, like, we have known each other for a long time. How have you been? It's like, where have you been all this while? We go deep into the personal life of that person with the intention of getting them into the emotional mood rather than genuinely wanting to know who they are. And mind you, the same questions and conversations created with people built on a different intention can wield very different outcome and foundation towards the relationship. And hence, there were many relationships that were fabricated out of manipulation, out of strategy, out of loneliness, or probably even self-validation. And what happens to the relationship? They crash. They crash one by one, they crash. And the guilt and the remorse of not being authentic and honest with these people continues to haunt the user who uses these strategies, tactics to win at life, to win in their dating life, to win in their social life, to win in their personal life. But when one day these strategies, they no longer work, or one day when I don't have the strength to execute these strategies anymore, what happens to the result that was created? They become a memory. They become distant. And there's a lack of ownership because the actor who played the role won the fans, not because he played the role, but he believed that the fans loved the actor's role rather than the actor himself. And this becomes very challenging, especially for a lot of not only women, but I will talk about men, especially in this podcast. Men who has the wealth that you have today, the success and the recognition, the network that you have built over time, probably the numerous relationship, and probably right now you have a lovely relationship, but somehow something is still missing. The connection between your spouse and your committed partner right now, something is missing. And only you know who you are only when you're alone with yourself, my dear friends. The power of attraction is powerful, but there is a price. In our workshop, we will share more with you how you can first understand the powers of attraction and possibly apply it to see short-term fast results for yourself, ethically coming from a space of wanting to grow. However, in the powers of alignment ourselves, that is where we will teach you how to use genuine POA to identify yourself, the true powers of alignment that you inside that deserves to be aligned once and for all. How come the hand is up? Very cute, the hand. So with that, my name is Paul Teo. I hope you enjoy this video so far. Subscribe to us, stay tuned to our videos, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our workshops one day.